now call to order this regular meeting of the Page County School Board.
Mr. Payne.
Yes.
Ms. Blind.
Yes.
Ms. Bowser. Yes.
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 Yes. Please pause for a minute of silence as we prepare for the meeting tonight.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Cox, do you have any agenda changes or additions?
I do not.
I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I make a motion we approve the agenda.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Alger and a second by Mr. Painter to approve the agenda as presented.
Yes. Mr. Payne.
Yes.
Ms. Blind.
Yes.
Mr. Overbaugh.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
Yes.
Madam Chairman, I am certifying that personnel matters discussed in closed session meeting, section 2.2-3711A 1 and 8 were discussed and taken care of.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan Smooch, certify personnel matters discussed in closed session.
Second.
And a second by Mr. Painter.
Mr. Payne.
Yes.
Ms. Blind.
Yes.
Mr. Overbaugh.
Yes.
Ms. Alger. Yes. Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes. And I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes personnel actions that were posted and religious exemption.
Make the motion, we approve the consent agenda and personal actions as indicated.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Overfelt and a second by myself.
Ms. Bryant.
Yes.
Mr. Overbaugh.
Yes.
Ms. Alger. Yes. Mr. Payne.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
Yes. The March minutes are posted for review. Ms. Dudley, you have a student ref presentation for us?
Ms. Bryant.
Oh, we're really rolling through tonight. Oh my goodness. So I have for you tonight my student representative update. As we're getting closer to the end of the year, I'm having less and less to report back to you, but I still think I have a lot of good information for you tonight. So we'll start the same as always with me. I have my agenda and my goals. It's just the same as always. Starting with the clubs, we have NHS. And we've just been coming up with ideas for later in the year, some spring events. We're looking at a potential potluck style picnic for when the weather gets warmer. Super excited about that. That'll probably be held at Lake Arrowhead. And then we have Tri-M, our Music Honor Society. And we've only met once since I last gave you guys an update. And we just reviewed some applications, not much to report. And now for Student Council Association, we're looking forward to many spring events. It's a very exciting time for all of us. The first spring event was a brunch that we held for all SCA members. There were pancakes, some breakfast food, drinks. It was a lot of fun. People were allowed to bring in stuff. Our next event is next week, and that's our Volley into Spring. And that's where all of the different clubs were able to sign up for a slot in our volleyball tournament. And that's a community event. The Easter Bunny is going to be there. It should be a lot of fun. And that's April 15th at 7 p.m. And now for our extracurriculars. Starting with baseball and softball. Baseball has played 7 games since the start of the season, and they have a record of 4-3. Softball has played 5 games, and they have a record of 0-5. And then they both play, or they don't play East Hardy tonight, actually. That got canceled because of the rain. Postponed. Now for track, they've had 4 meets so far this year, and they're just racking up points as we get closer to districts and stuff. They don't have another meet until later in April. Boys soccer and girls soccer, they've played the same amount of games, East Rock twice and Stonewall Jackson once. The boys have a record of 0-3. The girls have a record of 1-1-1. And then the next games will be on April 14th against Rappahannock County. Band and choir, we're preparing for Music in the Parks, which we're getting very excited for. That's at Busch Gardens this year. And there's not much difference between that and our concert. Our concert is about a week after. It's the same music, all that stuff. But this weekend we have an honor band performance, which is very exciting. Selected students from Page and Shenandoah County come together. They practice all day Friday, and then the start of the day Saturday, and then they have their concert Saturday. So it's a very quick turnaround. It's like district band, but on a smaller scale. And that's this Saturday at 3. And then speech and debate. The state tournament for speech and debate was, I guess it was last Saturday. And we had 2 people place. Maddie Maddox placed first place in impromptu, which is very exciting. She's a freshman this year, so it's very good. And then our senior, Ray Hagan, placed second in extempt. And those are both debate style speech. So no like what you expect speech to be, and it's not that. So that's interesting. Anyways, debate has been through regions and super regions, which is its own thing. And now some other miscellaneous events. The seniors are on their senior trip in Florida right now, which is super cool. I've seen a lot of pictures. It looks really nice down there. FCCLA just went on a trip to Virginia Beach for the State Leadership and Recognition Conference. The Spanish students went on a field trip to Richmond today to watch a flamenco dance. It's really cool. I went last year. It's really cool. And then there was a virtual job fair this morning that everybody who was there at school this morning participated in it. It actually seemed really cool. I got a lot of positive feedback on it. Students were tasked with selecting a job, and then they pretty much had to live out their adult life that way. So they had a salary, and they had to pay taxes, and they had all this insurance and stuff like that. And they had like child care to take care of. So it's just managing your money. So yeah, I think that's a really good thing that they did this morning. And that's all.
Well done.
Thank you.
Busy.
Great job. Yeah, you said you didn't have a lot to report, but you have a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Hopkins.
Good evening, everyone. Again, for the month of April, we are doing exceptionally well, or the schools are doing exceptionally well with their different initiatives throughout the buildings. So you can look at this bar graph and see that we're right between anywhere from 93 to above 94%. They are holding their own and doing very well with a very strong finish here. So, my favorite graph shows sort of holding their own, doing well. And then, of course, always why we do what we do. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Seegers, monthly financials.
Yes, good evening, board members. You have been provided with the monthly financials for March, where the expenditures and revenue were $3,809,065.76. Along with that, you have the local match calculation there that we did balance with the treasurer's office. Any questions?
Ms. Baker, special education plan.
Good evening, board members. In your packet this evening, you should have a copy of the grant application. It's about a 17-page document that walks through the federal flow-through funds that the school division receives. So I'm going to walk you through this evening, trying to give you an overview of what all this means and what the division has to submit in order to get reimbursement back. So just a brief overview of the funding and how the funding stream works. Some folks refer to this as federal flow-through money. Some refer to it as 6B funds. Some refer to it as a special education annual plan. It's pretty much all the same thing. Different names for the same thing. Federal money that flows through the Virginia Department of Education, but then our locality gets to apply to receive, and we use it as reimbursement back for some of the salaries of our teaching staff. Before I go too far into this, I want to give you a background on where we are in special education in the division. So this is a snapshot of our December 1 child count. So you can see our trends across the past 5 years. You'll notice that our number of students who've been identified with a disability has been steadily increasing. This is an unduplicated count. What that means is students with disabilities can be identified with more than one disabling condition. This is only counting them based on their primary condition. It's an unduplicated. Okay. This graph then shows you our December 1 child count in comparison to our spring SRC enrollment. Now, generally, I don't come to you this early in the school year, and usually by the time I do come to you, I have the SRC numbers for spring. This year, I don't have those numbers yet, so I did an estimate at the bottom based off of our fall membership, so that you could have an idea of where we're standing in terms of our total student enrollment compared to our number of students with disabilities, and what percentage of the population that represents for our division. Okay, now with all of that in mind, we'll go back into the overview of the annual plan. So again, I copied down that chart just to remind you of how the money flows down to us. And then on the right, you will see a table representing the amount of monies that we've received over the past 4 years. We did take a decrease in funds this past year. And I know there's probably the question of why. It's a formula that the state and the federal government calculates. We don't have input into that formula. I would make the assumption that it's based on enrollment numbers and based on the calc tool that Ms. Seacrest talks about, but I don't know the specifics. So we're working off of the 787, 187 for our school age population and 18 to 22 for our preschool. So those are the numbers to keep in mind. That's what we'll be applying for reimbursement for some of the salaries. So the packet that I put in front of you, the actual application packet, begins with a list of assurances that the superintendent has to verify for the state. I just did an overview of what those look like. You'll notice in your packet, the list of assurances runs, I think, 2, maybe 3 pages. It's pretty lengthy. Then the annual plan goes into the components that are listed here. We do have a local jail education program. So in the event that a student with disabilities would be incarcerated, we do provide educational services in our local jail. We do have a memorandum of agreement with the local jail that we keep current based on any time that either the sheriff changes or the superintendent changes. The maintenance of effort you will also find in the packet that has been provided for you. That is the assurance that the school division is going to spend at least $1 more on special education in the upcoming year than was spent in previous years. This ensures that students with disabilities are still receiving funding and that funding hasn't been cut. The proportionate set aside looks at our population of students who are homeschooled or who are parentally enrolled in private schools within our division. So the state does require that we set aside some of these funds to provide services to those students who may be identified with disabilities. That money is pre-populated. The state tells us how much we have to set aside, and you'll notice that in your packet when you're going. Then we get into the parts of 611 and 619, the school age money and the money then related to preschool. So what we're looking at with our school age grant money, the 787 figure, is a reimbursement. We would be applying to reimburse the division for salaries of some of our special education teacher staff, salaries and benefits. We also have to calculate out the proportionate set aside. You'll see that in the packet. And then other services that we use this money for include child find efforts. And we do have certain positions for special education in the division that accrue mileage because, for instance, we might only have one position that has to serve all of our buildings. And so we use some of these funds to help that individual with mileage. Same thing with 619 funds or the preschool grant. We're looking to reimburse a portion of a salary and benefits for a person in the preschool area. And then also for mileage for that individual to serve our students with disabilities in preschool settings across the division. So your packet's large. It is a large application that we go through. I will be coming back to you on April the 24th after you've had an opportunity to look through that packet to answer any questions that you have, and then to get your approval to move forward with the submission to DOE so that we can claim reimbursements in the coming year. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Johnson, Human Resources and Business Operations.
Yes, good evening, members of the school board. Tonight, we're going to focus on some positives, mostly over spring break, a few things prior to spring break. But while students were enjoying some rest, business operations were at work and play as well. So I want to share some things with you. And Mrs. Hall regrets that she couldn't be here tonight, so she and I got together, and I still wanted to show you this. You may have seen some of this on social media. The first annual bus rodeo. And this was, we tried, Ms. Hall's been working hard at camaraderie with our team, with the drivers and the staff, helping them to feel, often they can feel left out because they're not in a building, they're not in a classroom space, they're not in an office space, they're on a bus that often they don't step foot in the building. And so trying to go the extra mile there. So a bus rodeo, basically a driving skills test with a lot of enjoyment, an element of fun. There were golf carts involved, and I'll show you some of that. We had local judges as well as a judge from Loudoun County that came in, and it became a competition between the bus drivers, between the special ed, short bus drivers, between the van drivers, skills, points. And so later on in the presentation, we have a thank you to those community members that made this possible, but this occurred at the Shenandoah Speedway. I don't think it was a speed competition, but they took use of that great facility, and you can see the skills that they did. It was the first one. It was over spring break, so we didn't manage to lure everybody out. But I think the second one, that group will at least double because word spread that they had a fantastic day. And you can see our winners. We had first and second place winners with the full-size bus and those skills I alluded to, the sped bus. You can see that the lower golf cart picture, they for fun at the end of it all, they had a directional challenge. The golf cart driver was blindfolded and the passenger was given the directions. So they enjoyed it immensely. They cooked out. They had a potluck with the staff, their families. We had donations for bounce houses, so there was play for the kids, and just a wonderful day with the transportation team. And it just thrilled me that our transportation leadership was stepping up and doing this kind of thing, for the drivers. So we wanted to share that with you. Secondly, I'm not going to give you a name tonight. I've been in contact with the winner. It hasn't been yet announced, but I'm hoping to get this young lady here to stand in front of you for pictures. This is a celebration. We have been informed by JMU, this year's JMU Teaching Fellows Scholarship, and you recall I've talked to you about that the last 2 years. We have a graduating senior that JMU selects for a whole ride into education, and when they come back in 4 years, there's the promise of a job with Page County Public Schools. So we will let you know it's somebody from Page County High School, and sooner than later, I was actually in conversation with this individual today. We want to come and tell you all about her, what her planned degree field is going to be, what we want her to be teaching down the road. So just, again, I was looking forward to tonight because these are such positive, put a smile on your face kind of things. Yeah. And the last one, I asked Ms. Jeffries to walk you through. We've had some real positive developments in nutritional services as well.
So on Monday, the 31st, we got our new blast freezer installed. We're super excited about this piece of equipment. We were able to fully fund that equipment with a National School Lunch Program grant, so at no cost to the division. The goal of this particular piece of unit is to increase our scratch cooking and get consistency. So if you were to enjoy a piece of our homemade lasagna at any school, it's going to look the same, it's going to taste the same, because it's going to be made one place and then sent out to each of the schools to then be reheated to serve. Additionally, it's going to allow us to increase our local food purchases during the summer. We're really lucky to live in an agricultural area, and we have people growing fruits and vegetables, but we previously haven't had a good mechanism. So think of those berries and peaches and other things like that, being able to use this blast freezer to, you know, like the professionals, freeze them at that peak taste and flavor, and then be able to have our students enjoy them throughout the school year. And so again, we're really excited to be able to start implementing and using that equipment.
Where's
Yeah.
where's it located?
That is located at Lee Wright High School.
Okay.
And we chose that particular location because the two high schools obviously are identical, but during the summer, we're already operating our summer feeding out of Lee Wright High School, so it made sense to multitask that particular school. And then thankfully for us, you guys allowed us to purchase a second mobile feeding unit a few months ago. It has arrived, and because it looks like a FedEx truck, we're going to be calling this particular unit Feed Up, trying to play off those. And we found out last week that we received another grant from No Kid Hungry. That grant funding will allow us to purchase the generator, the refrigeration unit, the hot holding cabinet, and also get the unit wrapped really pretty to make people know what it is and have some visual to this second unit, because it looks a little different than a bus, which our first one is. So those are our two exciting updates that I wanted to share with you.
And I would add, Ms. Jeff, if you haven't seen the bus that we typically use, when this is finished, I'll ask Ms. Jeffries to get some photos of both, because it stands out. It's very colorful, and when they're delivering in the summer, you can't miss it. And kind of reminds me of sort of like the ice cream truck coming down the road. So it's just a positive feel to it.
And I do want to put in one more plug, and I want to express to you and to everybody else who may be listening how much that I appreciate the cooperation of our maintenance department and our mechanics, because they're going to be doing a lot of the work to retrofit this particular unit to be able to house and run the electricity and the generator. And so as nutritional services, sometimes we don't recognize, but there's other people are really taking a step and helping us with this project. So I could not do it without those other departments. So thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Fox?
Yes, good evening, everyone. I also have, Dr. Johnson, could you pass the clicker?
Yes.
Thank you. Just a short update for you all this evening with a couple of things. First thing I'd like to start with is I want to welcome and thank Mrs. Miller. Mrs. Tanya Miller's here this evening. She's going to be stepping into the role of Chief Financial Officer next year, and she's already stepped in for some things to try and get her feet wet. But we're grateful that you're here this evening, so welcome and congratulations to you. And we'll start with budget. Yay. Everybody's favorite. So kind of where are we now? We're not much different than where we were the last time I updated you all. General Assembly did reconvene last week. They ended up sending everything back to the governor as it was when they passed it. So now it's back. He had vetoed some things, put proposals back to them. They just denied it all and sent it back, is my understanding right now. He has until, I believe it's May 2nd, thank you, to make any additional changes or accept for that. An example of one of the things that was just sent back was the General Assembly had approved $223 million for the support cap, which is a huge thing for school divisions. We've talked about that a couple of times. He sent it back to them and took away $183 million
So they just denied it and sent it back for the original 223 million. So we'll see what happens with that. We're really, really hoping that the 223 is the number that ultimately gets approved, because that is favorable for all school divisions across the state. So again, he has until May 2nd. And so hopefully we'll know something more in the next couple of weeks. But right now we're still just in a standstill with all of that. The Board of Supervisors has shared with us that they'll notify us by May 5th of their local contribution. We haven't shared any numbers yet. They have to have a budget passed by the 15th by state code. And then we follow right after that. So we know likely that one will also have to have some amendments to it. So again, unfortunately, we're kind of just in a holding pattern right now with numbers from both the state and the locality. Question?
Well, I'd just like to get my supervisor knows to come visit some of the schools, like I mentioned there. We need to work on that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, because I think when they come in, they'll see all the great things that are happening.
Yeah.
Just a couple of legislative updates, and I give these with a smidgen of caution because we don't know the full language yet of everything that's been approved. We have versions of it, but we don't know what the final version. We always know that between now and July 1, those versions get tweaked just a smidgen more and come back out. But just an idea of some of the things that are heading our way as we look to a July 1 implementation for some of the new legislation. They did codify the bell-to-bell, but it does give school divisions some discretion. It's not as explicit as I think it originally started, but it gives you. So that will be something we'll need to bring back this summer to discuss whether you want to update policy and make sure that it is in alignment with the new state legislation. There are overdose notifications that are required. There are some that are already in place now. This just sort of tightened up that language that school divisions are required within 24 hours to notify parents of a suspected or a confirmed overdose. School nutrition, there are things put in now that prohibit containing any of these 7 additives that are now added. I didn't write them down, but they've listed 7 specific. I think Ms. Jeffries is one of them, like red dye.
They're mainly dyes.
Yeah.
Various dyes, which currently we've got all the dyes.
We're ahead of the game.
Yeah. Okay. There's new notifications and requirements that'll be coming for training for student athletes and heat exposure and protection. So it just requires us to update our policy, make sure that we're training people and that we have certain things in place when certain temperatures are reached in the summer for student athletes who are participating in various activities. And then we're just going to, right now, we're again waiting. There's some others. There's things with respect to the tourniquet kits that passed. There's things related to diabetes education. So we're just going to wait and see. Typically, VSBA, I'll be sending you all an invite. They do their law clinic, and I think it's the end of May. I'll send you all an invite. It's in Richmond. That's typically where they go through each of them and tell you what you need to know. And then we end up getting, typically in July, we get information from VDOE as well about those different things. So we'll keep you posted on those, but just a heads up that there are some significant bills that were passed that we'll have to do some policy updates for this. And then just a reminder that we are hosting, we're excited and proud to be actually hosting. I think this is the first time that Page is the second time Page County has hosted the VSBA Spring Networking Forum. It's going to be on May 1st at Page High School. And Dr. Jowanda Rollins-Fells, who's the current VSBA president, is going to be our guest speaker. And we're also going to feature some students who'll share some of the things that make Page County special. There's a dinner and a program, a student art contest, and we'll have a little bit of music for that evening. So just a reminder that that's on the books. We're looking forward to that, and we're welcoming in representatives. There's 12 different school divisions that are invited. There's school board members, superintendents, and then other staff that they and
That
then
would be a good place to invite your board supervisor member.
Yeah.
do that soon, because we do have to let Mrs. Breeden-Wallace is working with the caterer for dinner. So we do need to know those numbers soon. So if you do invite and they want to come, let her know.
Do we invite any town council members?
Good, we can invite him.
We can get somebody from the town council of each of the towns that I think would be interesting.
Mrs. Breeden-Wallace
Spread the
can help
wealth.
them with it. There is a charge for the dinner, but other than that, and we anticipate it'll start at 5. dinner portion in the program starts at 5:30. We anticipate about an hour and a half. No. All right, and lastly, just a couple of upcoming things that are going on, just to show you, this time of year, we really like to showcase the work that our students have done throughout the course of the year. And next week is one of those weeks where there's a lot going on. So tomorrow, we're excited at the Tech Center is our 5th grade extravaganza for CTE, and that's where the students lead the presentation. So it's not just the programs at the Tech Center, but our other career and technical ed courses that are being taught at the high schools. So that's tomorrow at 9 o'clock. On Monday, our Gifted and Talented Program Showcase is taking place at Luray Middle School. So that's where all of the students that are in those programs, they're going to show you some of the things that they've been doing. That one, there is a free dinner if you're interested. It begins at 5:15, and then their program will begin at 6. On Wednesday, our English Learner Night is going to be taking place at Luray High School. This is fun. The kids have a table where they've done a project where they talk about their culture and what they've learned and where they come from, and all kinds of fun things with that. You get to interact with them. So that is Wednesday. Thursday night is I believe, our fourth annual art show, student art show. So students grades K through 12 all come to, this year it's at Luray High School at 6 p.m. You can come, just browse the art, stay as long as you want, but you'll see some amazing talent and projects from those kids. And it's fun to see them. They bring their parents and aunts and uncles and grandparents, and they're just so proud to have their work displayed. And then just a reminder, last thing I have for you is that next Friday is Good Friday and schools and offices will be closed. That's all I have for you all tonight. Any questions that I can answer for you?
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
You're welcome.
So not much news on the superintendent search update. We will have a more detailed update at our next meeting and some additional information going on. Ms. Seifert?
Yes, good evening again, board members. You have been provided with the claim certification where the operating fund is $334,922.35. No capital improvement expenditures. Food service fund, $113,601.35. Total expenditures, $448,523.45. Along with that, we do have the list of claims as well as both check registers and if you have any questions.
Have a motion. To approve the claims for payment.
Make a motion to approve claims payment.
A motion and a second to approve the claims for payment as presented. Mr. Urban? Sure.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes, we do have one purchase order for your consideration over 10,000 this evening. It is from the Nutritional Services Department, and it is turkey and Swiss combo. It is for our summer feeding program. And it's Jeffrey's, it's kind of like a Slim Jim. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So, then if you have any questions, I'm sure that Jeffrey's going to answer those better than I can.
Do we get samples?
The turkey stick price.
Split that one 6 ways.
I got a pocket knife.
I make a motion that we approve the purchase order over $10,000.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Sullivan Smoot and a second by Mr. Overfelt to approve the purchase order over 10,000.
Yes.
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 Mr. Overfelt.
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. You all want discussion or you want to go ahead back into?
Let's move back into club.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we'll
Madam
do.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to go back into closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A18 pertaining to the discussion, consideration, or interview of prospective candidate for school board employment, appointments, transfers, resignations, retirement, discipline, or performance of employees of the school board.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan Smoot and a second by Mr. Painter to go into closed session. Fine.
Yes.
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 Yes.